What is the best time to post on YouTube? It's got to be one of the top questions every single creator asks, especially when they're just getting started. So let's actually dig into this because the answer, well, it's a bit more interesting than you might think.
Right? Everybody wants to know that magic hour, that perfect moment to hit publish so you can get the most views and the most engagement right out of the gate. We all crave that initial burst of momentum. It feels so important. And we're always looking for that little edge to make sure our new video doesn't just, land with a thud. But hang on, because here's our first big plot twist. And this comes straight from the team at Creator Insider. They've said that in the long run, the exact time you post doesn't really have a big impact on a video's long-term success. So what gives? If it doesn't matter in the long run, why are we even talking about it? Well, that's because while long-term performance is absolutely the end goal, giving your video a really strong start can definitely help it get there. So let's kick things off with the simple answers. These are the general guidelines and rules of thumb that research has uncovered for giving your video that initial push. Okay, so if you look at this table, you can see some really interesting patterns start to pop up depending on the niche. For food and recipe channels, it makes sense, right? Weekends and Wednesdays, late morning to early afternoon, when people are planning meals. For gaming, everything shifts later, into the evening on Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, when people are home from school or work. Some sources will point to a general sweet spot for most long-form stuff on Mondays and Wednesdays around noon to 3. And YouTube Shorts, well, that's a whole different ballgame. The windows are much shorter and more frequent, trying to catch people during their little breaks throughout the day. So, these general rules are a fantastic starting point. But, and this is a huge but, your audience is completely unique. They have their own habits, their own schedules, they live in different time zones all over the world. Relying only on this kind of generic advice is kind of like using a map of New York to try and navigate London. It's just not going to work perfectly. So, how do you get the data that actually matters for you? The better answer, honestly, the best answer is already waiting for you. And it's not hiding in some article or a research paper. It's sitting right inside your own YouTube studio. And believe me, it is the most powerful tool you have for figuring out your audience's prime time. And the best part is, finding it is super, super simple. It's really just a 4-step process. All you do is open up your YouTube studio, click on Analytics, and then pop over to the Audience tab. You scroll down just a little bit, and boom, there it is, this incredibly useful graph. Once you've found it, reading the graph is totally intuitive. You'll see this chart with the days of the week and times of the day. The little bars will all be colored in different shades of purple. And the rule is simple. The darker the purple, the more of your viewers are online and active on YouTube at that exact time. Those lighter areas or the spots with no color at all, that just means fewer people are around. Now, before we go any further, there is one really, really important thing to understand about this graph. This chart does not show you when people are watching your videos. What it shows is when the type of people who watch your channel are active on YouTube in general, watching anything. So think of it as a measure of your audience's presence on the platform, not a direct report of engagement with your specific channel. Okay, so you have this amazing personalized data. You know exactly when your audience is showing up to the party. The next big question is, how do you actually use that information to give your new video the best possible launch? Let's talk about how to turn this data into a clear, actionable strategy. All right, here is the core strategy that so many successful creators swear by. You want to post your video 1 to 2 hours before that peak activity starts. See, you don't post right at the peak time, you post just ahead of it. Why? Because this gives YouTube's algorithm enough time to index your video, to process it in HD and 4K, and to get it ready to start showing up in people's feeds right as they begin to log on. And why does getting that initial timing right matter so much? Well, it's because when your video is fresh in people's feeds, just as your audience arrives, you have a much better chance of getting those immediate clicks. A strong initial click-through rate, or CTR, is a huge positive signal to the YouTube algorithm. It's basically you telling the system, hey, people are really interested in this, which then encourages YouTube to show it to even more people. So this really leaves us with 2 best times to think about. First, you've got your analytics time, which we just covered, posting right before your audience hits its peak. But the second one is just as important, and that's your engagement time. Honestly, the absolute best time to post is also when you, the creator, are actually free to hang out in the comments for that first hour or 2, replying, hearting comments, and just building that initial community buzz. So, we've gone pretty deep on timing, on data, on strategy, but let's zoom all the way out for a second and come back to that first quote we saw. Because while timing is a fantastic tool to have in your toolbox, it is not the foundation of long-term success. So what is?
At the end of the day, it all boils down to this. Good timing can help you catch that first wave, but it's great content that allows your video to keep surfing for weeks, months, or even years to come. A good launch is awesome, but a long life is what actually builds a successful channel.
So really, the most crucial thing is to focus on the fundamentals. Are you picking interesting topics? Are your thumbnails and titles compelling enough to make someone stop scrolling? Do your videos actually deliver what you promised and keep people engaged? And maybe most importantly, is your posting schedule actually sustainable for you? These are the questions that truly define a channel's success, way more than the exact minute you hit that publish button. So I'm going to leave you with this question to chew on. Instead of just asking, when should I post? I want you to start asking yourself this. Is my content so good, so valuable, and so engaging that it could succeed no matter what time I post it? When the answer to that question is yes, you know you're on the right track.